Om. Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahano Bhunaktu Saha Viryam Karavavahe Tejasvinavati Tamastu Ma Vidvishavahe. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. So we left off, and last week the last topic we're in of this chapter, dedicated efforts lead the seeker, even the unrighteous, to self-realization. It really doesn't matter who you are, where you're at, what you're doing. If you want to evolve, you can get to that truth. Nobody's exempt. And if nobody's exempt, it raises the question, then why isn't everybody doing that? Anyone? Nobody's in a better or worse position. So why isn't everybody doing it? Everybody wants to be happy. So why is there so much unhappiness or illness in the world? This is for you to ponder. If you've not thought about it now and come up with the answer, ponder it. What's going on? Anybody got a quick question, quick answer? Why are we not doing it? Nishi.
Is it because we're just not aware?
Why are we not aware?
Because we're too involved in the world and our conditioning.
Yep. Who does that?
What, the conditioning?
Yeah.
Parents, the people around us, and our vasanas.
Our vasanas. So whomever you are, we're conditioned. We enable that conditioning, and we can enable that deconditioning. There may be powerful forces around us, but essentially we make or mar ourselves. That's the whole knowledge is giving you availability to do it yourself or not. Nobody can help you but yourself. You got to raise yourself by yourself. So this is the flavor, the thread, that golden thread running through the whole of the scriptures. You got to do it yourself. Doesn't matter where you're at. So you become the hare and not the tortoise. Sorry, you become the tortoise. That's a slip. We think it's you become the hare is a good thing. So you become the tortoise, not that rajasic hare. Hare. A little rabbit-like creature. Meaning, which direction are you taking? Dedicated efforts lead the seeker, even the unrighteous, to self-realization. So let's consider all of ourselves. We are generally unrighteous because we have vasanas. So don't get off scot-free by admitting that. Sometimes an admission makes a complacency in all of us. Yes, we're not that good. We do bad things as such. But it's saying here, you can get there. Even if you're in a real terrible mess, it's your birthright to do that. It's your mission to do that. But with dedicated efforts, means you've got to do something about it. You can't just complacently come every Wednesday morning. You've got to do something. We've all got to do something. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, every day, and not just for 1 hour. Prayer is not part-time, it's full-time awareness, Nishi, as you said, awareness of truth. Full-time awareness of truth. Can't pick and choose when you like to do something for one person and not for another. It's a full-time awareness of truth, and that percolates in how you act outwardly. So depending on your efforts will be such. So, verse 30, any question before we go ahead? Go and put the effort. Tim.
You've used the analogy of the tortoise and the hare.
Mm-hmm.
I think most people would prefer to be a hare going fast than a tortoise going slow. But my question is, where does Ganesh fit into this animal metaphor system? Where is Ganesh?
Ganesha.
Or tortoise?
So in the Hindu pantheon of gods, symbolism, the Ganesh here on the end, could be an orm, it could be anything. Ganesh, by the way, is symbolic of spiritual and material well-being. It's that balance of both, symbolic. There's
Why is an elephant symbolic of that?
Of what? Of what I've just said, or your original question?
Sorry, let me rephrase my question. Ganesh, an elephant, hare, tortoise, animals. I'm just wondering where the animal symbolism slips in. Why is
animals?
God Ganesh an elephant?
Okay, so all of these parables which have animals in, animals have their characteristics of what we have, sattva, rajas, and tamas. So they're like the hare is considered, why did he lose the race? Because he's a rajasic fellow. He suddenly thought he had capacity, and so he got complacent and stopped. Whereas the tortoise constantly plodded. Even the tortoise metaphor is used in chapter 2 to describe what happens when the mind senses turbulently come to be attracted to us. So to make us do not the great things, the tortoise withdraws its all 5 entrances back into its shell. So if you have a powerful intellect, you can withdraw yourself back into yourself. So these are metaphors. Why are they animals? Because they symbolize the different characteristics more easily. They're a little bit away from us. We can't see it often if we're a monkey, or if we're an elephant within ourselves, or if we are the tortoise, or if we are the hare. We're the scorpion, snake. We don't see it when it's so close to us, but a little bit removed, we can see our whole kingdom around us. And the animal kingdom has certain predominant traits which make it its animal. So it helps us. So the stories and symbolism are often used to depict where we're at so we can evolve. So animals, where you say animals are part of all of us. We have animalistic tendencies within us, that rajas, the sattva, tamas, slug, hardly sattvic. Maybe in its own context, it does its own thing, but it doesn't have intellect as such. It has feeling, it may have some sensitivity, but It's not the same as a human being. Slug. We have sluggish. Yeah. Chickens running, we say chicken without head. You know, they're all metaphors to explain to us how we have to evolve. And animals are very much part of our society. They behave generally better than us, though we're trying to evolve. They disciplinary with a program, with their discipline, evolve. We're the ones who go backwards nowadays. We're the ones who got choice. So they're helpful to us. Why Ganesha? Ganesha is symbolic. There's lots of stories of Ganesha. The parables often show, the animals often show easily the extremities. So always trying to focus us to go beyond the opposites. So in the story of Lord Ganesha, you've got a rat riding on the back of an elephant. It's trying to show the extremities. It's a story in itself. So how the mindset is. But the whole idea is to go beyond the opposites. You often see Ganeshas. When you buy a Ganesha, you have, anybody know? When you buy an ornamental Ganesha, do you know what the tusks are? How the tusks are displayed? Anybody know?
One is missing.
Guru.
Yeah. One of the tusks is half broken.
One is half broken. So if they're both full, it's like the symbolism is you're fully engaged in the world. If one is broken, it's meant to be symbolizing the opposites in the world, and you've got to go beyond it. So if one tusk is, if you've got a perfect Ganesha, 2 tusks fully, it's like you're in the world. Don't buy that one. You want one with the broken tusk. Symbolism, that's the symbolism. One less shows the opposites, you've got to move beyond. And it's all symbolism. It's easier to view in animals than in ourselves. There you have gods which are human, gods plural. So hare and the tortoise, it makes it an easy story for us to understand. You get told when you're a child, anybody who really understands it, I don't know. We all end up hares, best, rather than we all think of the tortoise as the slug. But here he's saying, even the unrighteous can reach self-realization. What does that mean? How can that be so? Even the tortoise can reach the end of the race and win. How can that be so? What's happening, Ishi?
Through effort, constant effort.
Constant effort. Tim, does that make sense about the animals used?
Yes, my question wasn't profound. We have tortoises and hares in the United Kingdom. We don't have many elephants. So I was wondering what the view of an elephant is, or why the elephant is given to Ganesh.
Ganesh, it's throughout the scriptures. Yeah, they all have different symbolism. Ganesha in one context is a symbolic to go beyond the material, the spiritual, have that well-being. It also in another context is considered a tamasic animal because it can't move fast as such. It's a big animal. So there's various different stories on different traits. It's just picking up the traits of what that animal may have and using them, accentuating it. Helps us identify. Historically, throughout the world, different animals are depicted. Cat, sphinx, snake, ego, serpent. Anyway, let's go. "31.
भवति धर्मात्मा शाश्वत शान्तिं निगच्छति
So let's get the right.
That is right.
Shipram Bhavati Dharma. Yes. Let's start again.
क्षिप्रं भवति धर्मात्मा शाश्वत शान्तिं निगच्छति कौन्तेय प्रतिजानीहि न मे भक्तः प्रणश्यति.
Renu, if you could read the verse.
Soon he becomes righteous and attains eternal peace. O Konteya, know for certain that my devotee never perishes.
Okay. So know for certain. Pratajanihi. Know for certain. Shipram. So it's like easily becomes righteous. Dharmatma. So a person who becomes righteous easily. What have we been saying?
Someone who is seeking the knowledge.
Someone is seeking the knowledge. So heading in the right direction. So your question to you is not what you're pursuing, but what direction are you going is the question. So because of past actions, you may be doing certain things which are not great, may have a force on you. But which direction are you going to take from there on, from now on? Doesn't matter what you were. What are you going to do now? So some people may be in a better condition than yourself because of their past actions. Or you're in a better condition than another. You've got to think, what direction are you going in? Is the direction taking you to a higher understanding? So those who go in that right direction of the self, they become righteous. They gain that punya, or go beyond that. So it's as simple as that. Shipram. Shipram bhavati dharmatma. So soon, saying soon you get that eternal peace. If you go in the right direction. If not, then a long wait, a long more effort. You're accumulating vasanas, as it were. So we seek our peace and joy. We must have said this hundreds of times outwardly. And joy is there for a little while, and then it's gone. And we want to hold on to joy. And then sorrow comes, lots and lots frequently. And we want to get rid of that, but it keeps staying. Because when you seek it in the world, it's temporary joy. So you may go to something, you go to a concert, or you go to a sports game, or you go and do something that brings you incredible elevation. You know, to talk, you feel elevated. You've seen their performance, whatever it may be. So if you go to that same place later, there's nothing there. That same heightened pleasure that you got for that moment in time, go to the same place the following day, there's nothing there. It's not quite the same. You might find rubbish if it's in a stadium. Yeah, it could be a cricket match, it could be a concert, it could be something else, but it's different the following day when there's not that whole elevation of joy. So joy and sorrow come and go, keep coming. Sorrow, 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 joy, joy. Sorrow, 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 more sorrow than joy. So you've got to increase that joy, sorrow within, rather than that, so it doesn't keep passing. You've got to get a little bit more objective, less involved. Carry yourself as that witness. Gain that capacity to step back and observe it's just a procession of joy, sorrow, joy, sorrow. Just like you watch the TV. That's all that's happening in life. Joy, sorrow, joy, sorrow, joy, sorrow. Sorrow, 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 joy. But if you're objective, you can watch it like the movie. Let's read the verse.
Mankind is exposed to two distinct facets of life, the secular and the sacred. Verse 30 commends those who choose the sacred path. The rest lose themselves in the quagmire of worldly perceptions, emotions, and thoughts. The moment a person begins seeking the self, he becomes established in the path of yoga, which leads him to self-realization. This verse assures the seeker that he will become righteous, which indicates the sacred path. Following this path, he shall attain the eternal peace and bliss of realization. Addressing Arjuna as Kaunteya, son of Kunti, Krishna declares emphatically, "Know for certain, my devotee never perishes." Those who pursue the secular path can never find the ultimate fulfillment in life. The wealthiest person hankers after more and more wealth. The most sensual person indulges in his sensual pleasures interminably. An emotional person craves for emotions ceaselessly. The most knowledgeable person seeks knowledge endlessly. These mundane pursuits are insatiable. They finally end in one's disappointment and destruction. Conversely, the seekers of the self, following the sacred path, attain enlightenment. Krishna addresses them as my devotees. Throughout the Gita, Krishna uses the pronoun me to mean the supreme self within, as did all the divine prophets who propagated the ultimate truth. Yet some fanatics believe the declaration to mean Krishna's personal preference to those who are devoted to him alone. That interpretation would subvert the magnitude and magnificence of Krishna's universal passion and preaching.
Not personal, no personal gods. Everything is universal. That's where there's wars. Unfortunately, make it all personal. Mine's better than yours. Self is universal. Names and forms just there to help. Krishna uses different ways.
Krishna uses different ways and means to impart the supreme truth to seekers. He quotes from the ancient Vedic sages in several parts of the Gita. In doing so, he kindles a seeker's regard for tradition. At other places, he appeals to the seeker's intellect. He derives intelligent conclusions through sound logic and reason, and leaves the seeker to choose his course of action. Krishna employs yet another method, as in this verse. He makes powerful and forceful statements to support the weaker minds of people. A weak and unstable mind needs such emphatic assertion to pursue any course of action. Know for certain, my devotee shall never perish.
So different people need different things, different presentations to get you to move on your vasanas. That's all it's about. Different things will get you move on the vasanas that you have. So we've all got to move on our karma. What we do in our everyday, morning till night. Where do you direct your actions? Is your question. When you wake up in the morning, how can I be of service? It should jump into your head. What am I going to get out of you? How can I be of service? The more you evolve, how can I be of service? Whatever your vocation is, or whatever you, as we are here collectively, we should be thinking, how can we be of service to this cause so it enables us and others while we're here? When you go to work, you've got to think, how can I be of service? Optimum. It's refining your vasanas, nothing else. You don't do it, your vasanas don't get refined. It's as simple as that. Those who see it, will get onto it. Those who don't, continue on. It's fine. So you've got to refine yourself. There's a saying, you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make it drink. You've got to drink yourself. Thanks, Guru. You gave the analogy on the WhatsApp from last week. We've got to do something about it. You don't do it for anybody but your growth. And then you realize your growth is collective. You are with everybody. You're not different. So we must all put in efforts. Let's go. 32.
मां हि पार्थव्यपाश्रित्य येऽपि स्युः पापयोनयः स्त्रियो वैश्यास्तथा शूद्राः तेऽपि यान्ति परां गतिम्.
Wow, we have Guru. You could have chanted Guru next time. Make sure you're here.
Yeah, I can.
So, Sam, if you could read the verse.
For those who take refuge in me, O Partha, though of sinful birth, women, Vaishyas, even Sutras, they also attain the supreme goal.
So if you remember, we did the caste system previously. Those who take refuge in me. It's saying everybody can get the self, no matter what your preconception is. There's often that X can do something and Y can't. If you evolve your sattvic content, you can get to the self. But if you are in the Shastras of agitated mind, meaning you've got more vasanas, then you have to plow through that. When he says woman Vaishya Sutra, woman meaning the quality of when one is emotional and gets agitated. Nowadays, more men get agitated than women and have a lack of clarity of intellect. As a woman, I could say that. But it seems to be that way. Swamiji often says that, used to say that in class. In the society today, the men have stopped cultivating their exploratory values to look and discover, and the women have started to delve more into that. So the balance is tipped. So it's nothing to do with woman or man, though it says it here. It's to do with that quality of being exploratory and going introvert with these bigger values, or getting involved in the world and being agitated. If you look at the society today, who's causing the agitation? Who causes the wars? So it's not male, female, though that's a general statement. It's where is your mindset? You may be a man or a woman, and if you're agitated, if you're easily wavered as with your reactions, you're not objective, that's who it's referring to, sinful birth, agitation. So sin is not in the action, it's not what you do, it's in the reaction. So it's just the masculine or feminine qualities it's talking about here. When it's talking about Vaishyas and Sudras, it's talking about those who are more Rajasic and Tamasic. It's nothing to do with birthright. It's to do with, if you're more Rajasic and Tamasic, you're going to suffer more stress, that's all. And the whole Shastra is trying to evolve your sattva. So if you can evolve your sattva, it really doesn't matter who it is. So it's actually, you could look at this very negatively, this verse and such verses like this, or actually say it's obliterating that preconception that such persons are exempt from spiritual evolution to get to the self. It's actually saying, don't get it wrong. These persons are eligible. It's the direction and the effort you take to evolve your sattva. That's the person who succeeds to self-realization. So if you're agitated by a scenario, you have to look at it carefully. We have the example often, the tiger doesn't get agitated when it gets its kill because it is of Rajasic nature. So it is an animal. But as a human being, if you get agitated by killing and eating the meat, then you've got to think about it. That's a sin, that's a reaction. So you've got to think what your choices are. If you feel it, you know, the questions are often like that. Should I be vegetarian? Is it okay to be non-vegetarian in this path? It doesn't matter. You've got to understand why one does the one and the other. Eating foods which are cultivating rajas as a byproduct doesn't help your spiritual growth. That's about it. But you make your choices. If you're not agitated, it's fine. If you're agitated, whether you drink milk or don't, you know, each one has their parameter of where they can think on the higher value. If anybody understood what it is to drink milk, you would never drink. So you can't condemn the meat eater for eating meat. We're all at different stages. So it all depends on your bhavana to the truth. That agitation of whether you are, it pricks you and you take a course of action in the right direction, or it doesn't. So keep pitching up values. So if it doesn't prick you, you're not sinning. But you have to pay the price of the cause and effect. If you do something out of sync of the universal plan, you have to pay the price, repay the price. So it's kind of intelligent to pitch up to save your mind from being agitated on the bigger scheme of things. Keeps you at peace, keeps you growing. But wherever you're at, you've got to go with that. So if there's any regret in your actions, if there's that emotional trait playing on that agitation on you when you do something, if you can't cut it quickly and move on to the next, it's talking about those people. That's sinning. Why is that? Can anybody explain to me why that? Why is it not great? What's wrong with it?
Well, when you become like that, your mind becomes, well, you're unsettled. And so then the mind or yourself, you're not at peace. So you can't really, I don't know, it's kind of all negative, isn't it?
You can't really do anything when you're negative, isn't it?
Well, you do the wrong thing.
You do. Mine's always going, oh, haywire. Yeah, great, good. Mine's not calm. That's all it means, sinning. Mine's not calm. It's reactionary. And if you develop a powerful intellect and direct and calm your mind, it's not talking about that person here. It's actually saying that person, these people can do that. So don't ever underestimate it. The people who don't want to put in effort, who become complacent, get attached to these verses and look at them wrongly. Sattva, Rajas, and Tamas. If you stay tamasic, agitated, you got to pay a price. If you elevate yourself, refine your Rajas to Sattva, you're the one who will get the benefit. You evolve, refine your vasanas. Less, no agitation. But if you're cultivating agitation, you're lowering yourself down. So Vaishya Sudra is not by birthright. And it's talking about women. It's not talking about, it's symbolic. It's talking about that, like a yin and a yang. It's talking about that quality which gets emotional and agitated. Nothing more than that. Especially since the society is flipped currently. It is flipping. So even if you're agitated, you can gain the higher it's time to put forward. Just have to train your mind. Let's go. Benny.
Can I just ask a question? It's a little bit off kilter off from this, but in the previous verse, that 31, where it says that there are some fanatics who believe this declaration to mean Krishna's personal preference to those who are devoted to him alone. Can I just ask, is this, you know, there are this group of people, is it Vaishnavis and
Vaishnav, right?
Vaishnav, yeah.
Shivites.
Yes, well,
Krishna it could be anything. Go on.
but just some of them, when I was growing up, I couldn't really, as a child, I couldn't understand where they were coming from, because you couldn't do this and you couldn't touch that. And is this where it's coming from? So where is what do they read to become like that?
I don't know. You have to ask them. I don't know all the ins and outs of their mind. But what I would say is, when you get attached to, like, the gods and goddesses are all symbols to help you evolve to the truth. So Krishna here is a character in the Bhagavad Gita. Arjuna is the student. Krishna is symbolic of the self. They're helping you because we relate better with personal heroes. It's more easy to tangible. So if one doesn't have the backdrop of the knowledge and is more of a bhakta and follows that, you can still get to the truth. There's nothing in it. If your mind is single pointed focus on an idol, you can get to the truth, but you'll drop that idol when you get to the truth, or you've realized it's not outside in these gods or goddesses or murtis or figurines. It's within you. Once you get that sorted out. So where these people are coming from, they get fanatically attached to something personal, to the exclusion of everything else. So if you look at truth, there's a divinity running through the diversity. It's not the other way around. Sorry, it doesn't make sense that way. It's not exclusive. Mine's got divinity, yours is not. There's a divinity running through everything. You may pick up pockets of what your understanding is, which helps you evolve, maybe an idol, maybe a philosophy, maybe a value. If that helps you, use it to evolve. But we're all going after the same thing. So if you can't break that down in your mind and you make it exclusive, if it helps you, fine. If you impose it on another, you're in trouble. It's like saying, if I'm not Hindu, anybody who's not Hindu or Christian is doomed. You're not doomed. Here it's time to tell you, the worst of us, the most agitated is birthrights to get to the truth. So forget it. If you don't understand what somebody's doing to help themselves, leave it aside. Let them get on with what they're doing. You get on with what makes sense to you. Build a powerful intellect. You'll see the whole scheme of things. You won't want to make those differentiations. Somebody will come and condemn you and say, you don't believe in my God. Okay, it's fine. If you're liberal enough, you'll believe in every God and you'll not have a problem. They're all the same. They're just names and forms in the Bhagavad Gita and in the Upanishad, nama, rupa, names and form to help you. Because you can't figure it out in your head, you need an idol. That's all, to reach the idea. Don't worry about where they come from. We don't know what's in their minds. Get attached to a particular god or murti. They may have good reason because it helps them in what? Those rituals help them. There's nothing wrong with rituals that help them. It's when it becomes exclusive, mine. Ego plays with my God is better than yours. Something wrong with that. But that's their business if somebody is doing that. And we could say my Krishna is all pervading and saintly, but your Christ is not. It's ridiculous. Self is self. These are just names to help us. Now, if you can grow yourself, let everybody else do what they want to do. You keep that universality in yourself. That's all. We're all at different stages, infants. You can't expect an infant in year 1 learning, or year 3 or 4 learning ABC, to know what that high philosophy is, of it's all universal. Hence in Bhakti Yoga, chapter 12, it goes from Murti Puja, worship with an idol, to Nirguna. Worship is no attributes. The worship is from your everyday actions, your thinking, your service, your karma bhakti jnana. That's worship, not part-time, full-time awareness of truth. Got nothing to do with this name or that name. We could be reading from the Bible or the Quran for all I care. As long as we got those universal values, that's what you've got to pitch up on. We happen to be reading it from Bhagavad Gita. That's all. Truth is truth. Don't get attached to the Gita. Use it to amplify your truth. But it's not I and my. Better than yours. So don't get worried about it. You know what I mean. Anybody who's attached, that's the problem. My right. What's your right? My right to this land. What's your right? Got your name on it? Ridiculous. My right to this religion. Everything else is dead. Stupidity. Idiots. You have to suffer the consequence. Cause and effect takes place. Don't make it that way. Your only right is to be universal. The more you grow, the more you can afford that. Let's go again.
Continuing the trend of thought from verses 30 and 31, Krishna further assures seekers that spiritual enlightenment is not an exclusive right for Sattvika pure people alone. Even sinners can attain it when they change their focus of attention and action from the mundane world to the Supreme Self. The emphasis here lies on the importance of one's direction in life, secular or sacred, rather than one's present spiritual status.
So don't become complacent and think you're spiritual. You got to work on it, or you go backwards like the hare.
Krishna encourages those of sinful birth also to follow the spiritual path, assuring that they too will reach God. Sinful here signifies mental disturbance. Thus, the verse includes women, Vaishyas, traders, and Shudras, labor in this category due to their mental state. The basic nature of this group tends to be more emotional than rational. They become more possessive and attached to the world. That disturbs their minds and renders them sinful. Spiritual pursuit, however, needs a calm mind controlled by the intellect.
So the thought is right now, the whole world is more Vaishya and Sudra. You understand that? Who is the chivalrous person with high values, and who is the Brahmana? It's very, very far and few between. I'm not talking about somebody in some clothing, really from within. Let's go to the next.
Women are not disqualified from spiritual enlightenment. Their nature may be predominantly emotional. That doesn't mean they lack reason. In fact, women today tend to be more rational than men. The Shastra scriptures also glorify the status of women in the spiritual field. The Shastra itself is personified as Goddess Uma. The Gita is revered as a mother, and sage Yajna Valya taught the highest philosophy to his wife Maitreyi in the Bradaranyaka Upanishad. Aitareya Upanishad mentions women attending the discourse of the rishi, sage. Despite all these facts, a woman's emotional nature still impedes spiritual growth. The caste system places Vaishyas and Shudras in its third and fourth grades respectively. The four castes, Brahmana, priest, Kshatriya, warrior, and Vaishya, trader, and Shudra, laborer, are based on their mental states rather than their spiritual social status by birth, as popularly misconceived.
It's a big problem that it's misconceived as I am this from birthright. And in society, it's misused. People misusing it are the Shudras, the Vaishyas. They might be called Brahmanas or Kshatriyas or whoever. But the people say, so don't get caught up with the name and the form. Get caught up thinking. Who's rational? Who can think universal? That's what you have to examine in yourself, and you'll see it when you're relating to your world. Let's go.
The mind falls under three distinct states: sattva, pure; rajas, passionate; and tamas, indolent. Tamas is the lowest state of mind, steeped in ignorance and inertia. Rajas is its passionate, desirous, and agitated state. Sattva, equanimous, serene, and poised. Every human being comprises all three qualities. The different proportions and combinations of these qualities create the four castes. A Brahmana is predominantly sattvika. A Kshatriya, a grade lower. A Vaishya contains more tamas and rajas and less of sattva. A Sudra is predominantly tamasika. The mental states of Vaishyas and Shudras, therefore, are agitated and dull. That impedes their spiritual growth. The above qualities of women, Vaishyas, and Shudras impede spiritual development. Even so, Krishna assures them access to the supreme goal of realization.
So remember, these things can be totally misused, these words. They're symbolic. They have nothing to do with the person, individual per se. It's like, what are the traits you have, whether you're man, woman, wherever you are in society. What are your traits, and what are you prepared to do? The birthright is spiritual enlightenment. You don't get onto it. You lose out. That's all. Stay there. There you go. Guru, you have something?
Oh, no problem, Ji. Thank you.